Bangladesh burned. The air, thick with tear gas, stung the eyes and choked the lungs. The streets, once vibrant with life, were battlegrounds. The echoes of chants for justice were met with the chilling crack of gunfire. July 2024. This was not the Bangladesh the world knew. This was a nation on fire, fueled by the fury of its youth. This wasn't just a protest. It was a spontaneous combustion of anger, a rebellion against a system that had long ignored its people's voices. A generation, raised on the promise of a brighter future, found themselves staring into the abyss of broken dreams. This was their July revolution, a fight for their right to a future where merit, not lineage, determined their worth. It started with a quota, a seemingly innocuous policy reserving government jobs for the descendants of freedom fighters. On the surface, a noble gesture honoring the sacrifices of those who fought for Bangladesh's liberation. But beneath the surface, a simmering resentment. This quota, the youth argued, was a slap in the face of meritocracy. It was a system that rewarded lineage over talent, perpetuating a cycle of privilege and inequality. For a generation grappling with unemployment and a shrinking job market, this was the final straw. The quota was a spark. It ignited a firestorm of discontent that spread like wildfire across the nation. The students rose first. From the hallowed halls of Dhaka University to the crowded classrooms of Rajshahi and Chittagong, they poured out onto the streets. Their voices, united in a chorus of dissent, demanded justice, equality, and a system that valued their potential. These weren't just students. They were the doctors, engineers, teachers, and entrepreneurs of tomorrow. They were the lifeblood of their nation, and they refused to be silenced. Their classrooms transformed into hubs of resistance, their textbooks replaced with placards and protest signs. This was a generation that understood their power. They were the future, and they were done asking for a seat at the table. They were taking it. The government's response was swift and brutal. The very forces meant to protect them turned on them, unleashing a wave of violence that shocked the nation. Rubber bullets, tear gas, and even live ammunition were used to quell the dissent. The streets ran red with the blood of the innocent. The internet, the lifeblood of modern communication, was severed. A digital iron curtain fell, shrouding the nation in darkness. Curfews were imposed, transforming vibrant cities into ghost towns. The message was clear: dissent would not be tolerated. Fear became the weapon of choice, wielded by a regime desperate to cling to power. But fear, they underestimated, is a double-edged sword. It can silence, but it can also embolden. Section 5. The world watches in silence. The world, sadly, remained largely silent. Condemnations, when they did come, were muted, overshadowed by geopolitical calculations and strategic interests. The cries for help from a nation struggling for its soul were met with indifference. Where were the champions of democracy, the defenders of human rights, when Bangladesh needed them most? Their silence was deafening, a stark reminder of the hypocrisy that often defines international relations. But even in the face of this deafening silence, the spirit of the Bangladeshi people remained unbroken. They had faced darkness before, and they would find a way to overcome it again. On July 24th, a glimmer of hope emerged from the darkness. The Supreme Court, feeling the weight of a nation's anger, partially reversed its decision on the quota system. A small victory, but a significant one. It was a testament to the power of the people, a sign that even the most entrenched systems could be shaken. The internet, partially restored, crackled back to life, carrying with it the stories of courage, resilience, and the unwavering spirit of a nation that refused to be broken. The curfews were eased, and the streets, though still bearing the scars of the conflict, began to breathe again. The fight was far from over, but this was a turning point. A moment that showed the world that the Bangladeshi people would not be denied their future. The pressure continued to mount. The streets, though quieter, still hummed with a quiet defiance. The resignation of Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, fleeing to India under the cover of darkness, sent shockwaves through the nation. The seemingly invincible dynasty had fallen. This was a watershed moment. For decades, the political landscape of Bangladesh had been dominated by two families, locked in a perpetual power struggle. The events of July 2024 shattered that status quo, creating a void, a vacuum of power that begged to be filled. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in a generation, there was a sense of possibility. The old order had crumbled, paving the way for something new to emerge. From the ashes of revolution, a new leader emerged, Muhammad Yunus, Nobel Peace Laureate, champion of the poor, and a beacon of hope for a nation yearning for change. His appointment as the leader of an interim government was met with cautious optimism. Yunus, with his quiet dignity and unwavering belief in the potential of his people, represented a clean break from the past. His mandate was clear: to heal the wounds of a divided nation, restore faith in democracy, and pave the way for free and fair elections. The universities, those crucibles of dissent, reopened their doors. The army, its presence no longer welcome, retreated to their barracks. A sense of normalcy, fragile yet palpable, began to return. The July Revolution was more than just a protest. It was a seismic shift in the consciousness of a nation. It was a testament to the power of the human spirit, the unwavering belief in the promise of a better tomorrow. The scars of those tumultuous days run deep. The death toll, a grim reminder of the price of freedom, continues to rise as more information comes to light. But even in the face of such unimaginable loss, the spirit of the Bangladeshi people remains unbroken. The echoes of the chants for justice, for equality, for a future worthy of their dreams, continue to reverberate. The July Revolution was their fight, but its lessons belong to us all. It is a reminder that the flame of freedom, once ignited, can never truly be extinguished. It is a call to action, a challenge to stand up, speak out, and demand a world where the voices of the people, not the roar of the powerful, determine our collective destiny.